Good evening everybody, and a very warm welcome to Berringer on this Sunday evening. And today I'm going to have a top up on Berringer Station update. I guess it's like part 2 I suppose. I'm not going to be too long because obviously I've bombarded you with a running session yesterday, although it hadn't quite gone well as I'd hoped. However, I'll get onto that in a little while because it's actually to do with Berringer Station. So I'll sort of add that on as well into here, and I'll explain to you why it didn't quite go as well as I planned. And also to already giving you a brief update on what's been happening on Berringer Station. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, some of the more observant of you, may have noticed that actually I did the roof on the canopy. And this is how it looks like. And I said I was going to do it, and what I like about this roof is it's a very plain, simple roof to do. It is so easy to do. It is it's nice and easy. There is no real expense to this roof, and it's a very cheap way of making a big long roof, canopy I should say, and it doesn't break the bank. Basically what I used for this is, I will show you right now, is a pack of this corrugated iron by Wills SSMP 216, and you get a pack of 4 of these sheets, and as you can probably see it cost me £3.75, and I only needed I think 2.5, and I didn't actually realise that I'd actually had one left over that I could have used, but it wouldn't have been enough anyway, so I had to buy this pack. And basically they come in these sheets of 4, and basically I cut them up and basically painted them up in a white acrylic paint. However, I didn't actually paint it properly, and which has meant that it's actually give it a nice kind of weathered finish without me having to do any weathering to it, because the plastic is grey. Just by doing one coat on it, you can sort of see the grey undertones underneath the edging, and that's kind of giving it an almost like a weathered effect really, and you can probably see it more pronounced down here, and that's made it really nice. Now the other thing about the roof is that this is kind of like a preview of how it's going to work. I'm still waiting on this dressed stone sheet from my local model shop, which is causing a bit of a delay. But I've always got something to do, so it's not the end of the world. However, I would like to get on with it. But what I'm planning on doing on this little bit here is basically doing it in the stone. And this is like a little bicycle shelter which I nicked off the bus station for now, just to place it there, just to see how it would work. And I've also had this spare bit of fencing here because I'm just toying with the idea of putting this fencing all the way along, just to give it that little bit of extra height. And on the back I'm probably going to have some wooden fencing, and then just behind, if I just removed the bicycle hut, you can see that I left a little bit of a gap there, and I might just put some steps. So the plan is now to probably put some steps here so they can walk along the footpath towards the station area. There is what I'm thinking. That's currently what the plan is, but I just wanted to sort of show you kind of idea that I was going with the car park along here. Now the reason, like I said, all these cars are here is because there's no town scene as yet. There was briefly yesterday, but then there was a number of issues that got highlighted during my running session, so I had to deal with those. And the big main issue that I had here was that this point here has been moved further back, which is literally backs on to the other point, because I had these couple of short bits followed by I had a short bit point and then another short bit, and all the Coco diesels with the 3 axles just didn't like it, particularly that 47 right in the corner. And I was looking forward to running it yesterday, but I wanted to send it up the branch line to go and collect the China clay, and it just hated this. So I've had to take the top off to redo it, and I think I've cracked it, but I'm going to have to leave it for a while. Also, I've had to cut the end off the slope here because there was some rubbing going along and it's so tight under here. It's just, so I've had to cut that off, which is not a big deal, as long as it all runs properly. Now on the upside, it has meant that this is a much more smoother transition towards the double sidings that I have going on here. And also, if I switch the lights on, you'll see, I get a better view of it actually. Bear with me a second. There we go. Basically these sidings are now slightly longer, because this point here is actually finished at about there. So I've kind of got quite a bit, like about that much, probably about, I don't know, about 4 or 5 inches extra to play with, which has made a big difference, because it now means that although I still can only get a 2-car unit in here, it just means that on the back one, on the back side in there, I can now fit a 158 or a 156. And those of you who aren't aware, the 156 and the 158s are both slightly longer DMUs. So although before this was fine for the class 101s, the 108s, the 150 and the 153, the 156 and the 158 could not be stabled here because the sidings weren't long enough. But at least now the one on the back is long enough to take a 156 or a 158. So that's kind of been a bit of a bonus. One of the other things I've done is I've started messing around with the pound lamp lighting that I bought, and started mucking around with that and start taking it apart. Now I'm going to take this bundle out, because like I said, I've already started messing around with this, so you can sort of see it, how it is. Basically it comes as a daisy chain like this, and basically so they're all connected to one another, but the only thing is that there's about, I don't know, about 3 inches between each one. So what you have to do in order to, if you want to make them longer, you have to actually cut them up, which is what I've had to do here. So you just cut off the ones that you need, but cut them in the middle so you can still got a way of adding in connectors to it, which is what I've done. Just get some plain electrical connectors, and then after add an extension leads basically to them to make them longer, so you can bridge the gaps and bridge the lengths. Now as you can see on my layout now, what I've decided to do now, or what I have done now, which is what I wanted to do, was to add more lighting in this area over here. And as you can see, I've got an LED in the little porter cabin, and I've also got some in the waiting room. Now the one in the porter cabin can't be slotted in the top because of the way it's because there isn't enough space inside the porter cabin. So basically you just have to cut a hole in the baseboard and sort of just let the light come in from underneath. I wanted to sort of try and get the light shining down on it, but the actual, if I just show you, it's amazing. Right, let's just go here. That length there is just too long, so you couldn't put it on the top, so it'd end up coming at like an angle, so it wouldn't fit properly. So that's why it's gone from underneath. Some more lighting I'll just show you is basically on the footbridge. There's one there, there's one round the back, there's one here, and then also to illuminate this area more, which makes a huge difference now, are these two on the back. And what I'll do is I'll just switch the lights off so you can see it in the dark. So here's Berringer by night, and one of the bits that I'd like to do is this area is still a bit on the dark side, and I've got this T lamp here, which is what I'd like to get replaced with one of those Weissman ones. It's just to illuminate this end of the platform. There's actually some lighting behind the signal box, but isn't actually in the signal box yet, but that will be going there, and that will light up the signal box. If we go sort of down the platform, I think it's illuminated rather nicely. We just go down here. I think it's nicely lit up. The waiting room's got a slight light bleed on it, and usually they say to tackle that to paint it on the inside in black, and that will stop it from light bleeding. I actually quite like it because it seems like it's illuminating the destination board like it's meant to be like that. But the fact of the matter is there's a small hole only underneath this waiting room, so it's very hard to actually paint the inside to remove that light bleed. So that's a bit of an issue, but I can live with it. One of the things about it though is it's got two LEDs in it, which is why it seems quite bright. What I might do is just to tone it down. I might take one of the LEDs out and then tone it down so the light bleed won't be so obvious. As you can see, you've got the LED in a little portal cabin. Seems a bit strong from this angle, or at least it seems it does. Poor guard or ticket information station staff, anyone that uses that portal cabin might end up with a headache, it's so bright. There's also some lighting down the end there, which nicely lights up the destination boards for platform 4 and 5. But I like this bit here because it's really made this area more inviting. As you can see, it's just so much more nicer to look at, and especially like here, where the DMU is at the back, it just seemed a bit dingy and a bit dark and uninviting before. So now it looks much better. Now it's got those two LEDs on the back. So yeah, and what I've done with these is basically they've got the short wires on them, and then I've used connectors and hidden the connectors in there and extended the wiring, and it goes down through the baseboard, or through the platform I should say, and comes underneath, and then basically that's just plugged into the main lighting circuit for the layout. So it works really well actually, and it's nice and bright, and it's nice down here. I'm not sure whether to add any more to this. This has got some minor lighting to it, not a huge amount. Obviously the 153 is in the way, and you've got the two LEDs on the end, which is something that I want to do over actually. Sorry, bear with me. I want to do over at these buffers over here where the DMU is and the 47. I want to add another two little red LEDs on the end of those, and that will set that off nicely as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to. If we just see it from the other angle, you can see how it looks. I'm sure with a cam truck or something like that running along here at night, I think it's going to look quite nice. I think it's going to look really effective and give a really nice glow to the layout at night. But like I said, I've got this T-lamp here, and I've got one just there, and these two obviously, as you can see, are non-working. And like I said, I might invest in some of the Weissman ones, and just to light up this area a bit more. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it still looks pretty decent for now, but I think, like I said, it needs a bit of adjustment. I've got the station building up the top, and that hasn't got any lighting in it. So this is the thing: am I going to light up the town scene, or what I'm going to do with that? I'm not entirely certain. And then there's also one other thing I want to show you about the station building also. So just before we skedaddle, as all of you will know, this is my main station building. It always has been. It's always like the signature kind of opening shot that everyone that you get whenever I do a video. One of the things that's been bothering me about this, and one or two subscribers have pointed out, that sometimes this paving on the top here has kind of come away, or it looks like it's not sitting properly, and that's because that the station wasn't quite level. Well, it wasn't more the station, it's more the footbridge wasn't level. So what I've done to address this is I've just created some more steps. So I'll just take the station apart and you'll see what I mean. And it creates a really nice indentation. It's just out of card, nothing too exciting or extravagant. But you can see now that I've just put some steps down here, and also it still blocks off the gap that you have here. So none of the passengers are going to fall through or end up killing themselves trying to get off the train and get out and go home and all the rest of it. And the thing is about that is that you can just put it all back and slot it in, and it all kind of, as long as you follow the slots, it all just slots in nicely. So that's the last bit of the update. I will love you and leave you, and please feel free to comment and subscribe as always, and I will speak to you when I have more of an update to show you. Bye for now.